Welcome, everyone. Good evening. It is really exciting to be here. I am very delighted to be holding this space with the facilitators of our very new program called Landscapes of Making. So welcome, Ayla, Elizabeth, and Caro. In a moment, we will start hearing from the facilitators and learn a bit about the program itself, and then there will be some practical information that I will be sharing. But before that, for those who haven't been to Embercombe or haven't heard of Embercombe before, I just would like to say that Embercombe is a 50 acres rewilding site that is at the edge of Dartmoor. And here we run programs and events that, help people to connect with themselves, with each other, and with the wider nature. And we advocate for a regenerative features and a regenerative earth. So before we start, I was hoping that perhaps Ayla, you could just, take us into grounding after a busy day for some of us.
So just closing your eyes and settling into this wild animal body of yours. Breathing deeply into this body, this earth temple. And noticing the way your in-breath expands and opens your body. Feel that life force within. And as you exhale, noticing your body softening, sinking a little bit deeper into the floor beneath. And drawing your breath all the way down to your belly. And imagining there in your belly, there is a flame. And as you breathe in this life force of air, grows this flame within to make it burn a little brighter, a little stronger. This flame within you that comes from the sun and the stars. This sacred flame which you are a guardian of in this life. And feeling the warmth of this flame spreading around your body. Feeling the heat within your body. Because here is this creative life force within each of us. This creative life force that is constantly inviting us to create, to make, to express, to feel. It is at the heart of our longing. And giving thanks to this flame within, this guiding light, this force of creativity, of your power. And taking in one more full-bellied breath. And as you exhale, just letting out a nice big sigh as you just fully arrive here in this space, in this moment, fully present, aligned between earth and sky. And then slowly opening your eyes and just looking around your space where you are.
Thank you so much, Ayla. That was so delicious that I didn't want to leave. I just wanted to stay. But we have an exciting time ahead, and I'm so looking forward to hearing from all of you about who you are, a little bit about yourselves, and also the gift, the offerings that you make, the gift that you bring. And then I was wondering if Caro, if you like to start us off.
Oh, it's lovely to be here. Thank you. And welcome to everyone who's watching this and wondering, what is Landscapes of Making? My name's Caroline Ross, or Caro, most people call me. And I mainly work with earth. And I'm lucky enough in my life to make paints and art and teach people how to make paints, as well as many other things, but just from earth itself: red earth, yellow earth, green earth, black earth, white earth, which is chalk. So I spend my days like a little badger digging up small amounts of beautiful colors and grinding them and turning them into paint. And I take leaves and oak galls and acorn caps and rusty nails that are just left in the street, and I turn them into ink. And it's possibly the best job I've ever had. I've been a lifelong forager, and I trained in art. But the art world that I came out into is all about money and machines and words and words and words. And so I became a musician and a Tai Chi teacher for many, many, many years, for over 20 years. So finally, in my older life, in my middle-agedness, which arrived, I wanted to bring everything together: movement, reverence for earth, foraging, loving teaching, community, the physicality of earth, and put that all in one place and somehow make art. And what happened was it did come together, and I had to give it a name, so I just kind of called it Found and Ground, and then it just took over my life. So then now I mainly just do this. So I wrote a book called Found and Ground, and so that people could easily and cheaply, which is really important to me, everyone can get their hands in earth. So now is an exciting time because it's not just working on my own. So this is one of the first times for a few years since before lockdown that I get to work with other people. And for me, that's the most exciting thing, because I'm happy making paints down by the sea on my own, but to be working with Embakum, with Isla, with Elizabeth, with other people who have a physical practice, and with Vanessa, who'll be helping us on the course, it's truly a kind of dream come true to be somewhere, especially in Devon in the UK, that is beautiful, but that it's also got history. And whereas you walk around and come in relationship to the rocks and the trees and the earth forms there, that it can teach me while I'm teaching students. So there's this constant kind of reciprocity happening. So yeah, that's been my journey from sandcastles and mud pies to sandcastles and mud pies and potions, but ones that you can use to make marks on paper and to decorate beautiful things. And I'm really looking forward to sharing that with everyone. So yeah, that's me.
So I'll also introduce myself. I'm Isla MacLeod, and I am bringing the thread of ceremony and reciprocity to this course. As my work as a ceremonialist, I'm really here to attend to the sacred and restore those pathways of memory, of belonging, with which we have lost in this culture. And I came to this work because of that sense of lostness and brokenness, and what was really a severance from my own creative life force and soul. And for me, this work is so important because perhaps as the non-maker to some extent, I'm not a craftswoman as such, it's been quite a journey for me to reclaim this sense of being a creative person. And I now recognize my life is my art. But I don't make a particular craft, but I am devoted to being in this constant collaboration with the natural world. So earth honoring ritual for me is my path really of how to create in relationship with place. And that can look like anything from a song or a poem to creating something with the waters or the bones. And so I will be bringing that playful approach to how can we respond to the land and what is being asked of us, and how can we restore balance to what has been broken. And for me, what is so exciting about this course is that I think we all are very passionate, I know we all are very passionate about showing an alternative to a consumer-driven culture. And I'm so inspired by Elizabeth and Caro because of the way I know that they live with just everything is made. And it's such an inspiring way to see that there are humans living in this way. And for me, there's this thread of like, how can we really inspire one another in the ways that we live? And how can we show up to support each other in community, to be able to have these conversations and be playful and maybe get it wrong. But being creative really is about the process and not an end product. And so the journey really is the reward here. And I think that's something which in all my work as a ceremonialist, there is always this sort of beginning and end, but it's what happens in the middle where there is this mystery unfurling and we're just a part of that. So for this course, I'll be there really attending to the mystery and listening in to how we can be in right relationship and how we can really create a feast of beauty for the land, because Mbekum is very dear to me and it's the first time I'll be holding something of a course there. So that in itself feels like a real gift to be able to give something back to a place that I know has fed and inspired and resourced so many people. And I think the other elements to mention that I bring, I think something around this sort of intimate relationship with the natural world, which is rooted in Eros, that there is a part of us that knows how to be creative, how to find that sort of thread of inspiration in a branch or looking at something on the earth, because we are alive in our sensory body. So practices that bring that kind of awareness and embodiment of those more feral, wild parts of us is something that I'm really interested in. I know we've got Caro bringing as well her energy movement. So I think that's the other piece that feels really important, that it's going to be a really embodied, sensual, sensory exploration. Yeah, I think that's all from me.
Well, thank you, Caro and Isla. Yeah, feeling really honoured to be facilitating with you both. So I'm Elizabeth Crawford, and I'm a maker. So I make kind of basketry-centered functional items that kind of incorporate carved wooden elements and woven textiles. And it's a practice that for me has really emerged out of a deep love for plants. I've always felt very creative. I've always been very artistic, but it's not always been easy for me to kind of find my way as a maker in this world. I feel like that's a kind of thread that we're all carrying to some degree. And after kind of many years of sort of dabbling in various creative practices, I ended up doing a degree in herbal medicine, which was a huge gateway for me. I'd always felt this kind of thread of connection to the natural world and this like deep desire to join my creative longings up with this sense of this yearning to feel closer and to feel more of a belonging with the earth. And herbal medicine really kind of gave me a language and a doorway through which I could learn about plants in a deep way and see like how they impact humans on so many different levels. but that was a real veering away from the making path. And it was only after that really that I started to explore basketry. After I had encountered plants in this deep way, suddenly this realm of making with plants opened itself up to me. And that was kind of in tandem with learning to love foraging, just finding this relationship with the hedgerows and the meadows and the plants that grow there. That is just felt so natural, so soothing, and so kind of timeless, really. It just felt perfect to me and something that I'd been missing for a lot of my life. So basketry for me, it's a creative outlet. It's a place to work with my hands. It's a opportunity to explore my creative ideas. It's very grounding, but it's also a connection with the ancestors, with these ancient ways of connecting to the earth, making useful objects. And it's also something that's very, very alive, and it's about dynamic relationship with plants, with our imaginations, and just with the kind of the whole of the living world around us. So that's something that I'm really, really wanting to bring to this course, that kind of like very tangible, tactile, creative way of connecting with the land, a way that I find very, very satisfying or fulfilling, sharing traditional craft skills, traditional techniques for weaving vessels, but also this way of walking the land with an eye for the plants and kind of uncovering and like revealing all of these allies that are around us, with so many different gifts to bring as materials and as medicines and more. So yeah, I'm very, very excited to kind of bring all that and explore it within the Invercombe Valley, which is such a rich place and has so much to share with us. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, all of you. As I was listening to you, I've been like, wow, we're peeking into this enchanting world that I really want to be part of. And my next question will be a little bit about that, I guess. And all of you in some ways respond to it already, but it would be nice to have a more focused answer to the question, what will participants get out of this program? Ayla.
Could speak to that. My sense of you just saying that actually is like sometimes our bandwidth as humans has become very, very small. And what I feel will be possible from coming to this course is that our potential of what's possible, but also the recognition of our own gifts will just expand to give you such a broader sense of the world, so that we open our eyes to this relationship that is constantly unfolding between us and the natural world, and the invitation within that to be in creative collaboration, to be in reciprocity, to offer a beauty as a way of giving thanks. And I think that as well as the practical tools that you'll be learning from Elizabeth and Caro around basket weaving, pigment making, and other things that we've got, you know, like cordage making, there'll be lots of different elements of actual practical tools that you will learn and take away with you. I think what feels important also is for those that maybe have a relationship with their creativity that has been in some way stifled, which so often it has been. I would really love to see people come that feel a little bit perhaps apprehensive about coming to a course like this because they think they don't know how to be creative or how to make. Because what we can really do together in community, this kind of process, is to sort of activate those ways of remembering that we are innately creative, that we are beings of nature. And so being able to sort of turn that back on opens up this whole realm of potential, both within our sort of creative practice, but also in how we creatively respond to the challenges or, you know, the situation that we're meeting in the world. And so I think there will be inspiration for that, also being held within community of like-minded souls to come together at this time. And the time we're gathering actually is around Lammas in the Wheel of the Year, which is the time of first harvest. So I think there's also this invitation to really celebrate our journeys and what we have been tending to in our lives, what seeds we have sown that are now growing to fruition, so that we come away with this basket of our harvest that we really can celebrate. And what are the seeds of that harvest that we want to take forward into our life? So there might be certain threads that we offer that you feel really engaged with or inspired by, that then you want to go and continue learning more of or share within your community. And I think that that's a big piece, that from going into this kind of space, we will be receiving a lot from the other facilitators, we'll be learning, but it's also about how we find that natural movement of the heart that wants to give and be generous and offer up our creative life as something of a prayer, as a way of giving thanks to all that we receive in our lives. And within that, there's this, I suppose, a generosity of heart which we can cultivate through our creativity, where there's no scarcity. I remember when we were brainstorming in the pub one day, the three of us, and there was something really around that felt really rich, that for so many of us, we limit ourselves in what's possible, but also, you know, whether it's also the resources or the beings that we're gathering from nature, is it okay to take these things to make something out of? And the questions around that we will also be addressing. But there is this feeling of how can we sit with these questions and ask the more deeper, more difficult questions perhaps around how we are in relationship, how we are making use of resources, to be able to find a place that is our sort of natural understanding of the balance between the web of life, and that there is this dance which happens when we are in creative collaboration. Like it's our birthright to be creative, and I think that's something which we really hope to help people remember. And as Elizabeth said as well, the remembering of these ancestral skills and crafts, that there is this activation of also these pathways of the ways that we belong to this earth, and that there are these ways that our hands remember, and through the act of doing, we're really able to engage with those that came before us, and in that we create this sort of what's the word, we create a momentum, I suppose, for those that are yet to be born, that we are here at this threshold and we want to be able to inspire those yet to come with these ways of being and remembering in relationship with the world. And I think in that, actually, the inner child for me feels really important for those of us that maybe have had our inner artist sort of curbed somewhat, that there will be a lot of opportunity for play. Like there's no way of doing this wrong. No one's going to come and be told off. That we really are going to get really messy, and we're going to have fun, and we're going to just be exploring the ways that our inner child wants to express themselves, and really give permission for us to feel an artist, that we do have a life which can become our offering, and that we can look at the ways that creating beauty is in itself a path of activism. So I think that there's lots of really interesting conversations around creativity that we can explore together. But I think that going away, I feel that people will have that sense of their own inner resource and confidence to be able to live a more creative and intentional life in right relationship with the natural world. And I suspect that it will create ripples beyond what we can tell. But I think the creative life force at this time is really demanding of us to think outside the box, and in doing so, like really look to the more than human world for guidance and inspiration. So I feel like that's something we'll be also attending to with all the many beautiful beings on the land there. And I think that's all I can think of. I don't know if there's any more ladies to add.
Oh, thank you so much, Ayla. I feel like I've been on a journey with you here, and I find it really welcoming and reassuring, because I don't know if there are other people who will, if it will resonate with them. When there was a word of creativity, let's do something creative, I was like, I'm out of here. It wasn't my thing, and I've been on that journey to make peace with the creativity. And then hearing your words, it's like play. There's not getting it wrong. And there's the heart and the dance. Just find it really exciting. Thank you. So my next question will be, maybe for some people, of course, you know, they just want to come and they don't care what's going to come next. They just want to know what, you know, what they're going to do as it comes. But for some of us, it feels helpful to know a bit about the shape of the week. So I was wondering if you could give an insight to the week, or to the 5 days that we will be spending together during the program.
Yeah, I can do that. Yeah, I feel like Isla just communicated so well about the content of the program. So I'll kind of stick to sort of the nuts and bolts schedule sort of stuff. So yeah, we're going to be together for 5 days, and we'll be meeting early afternoon on the Wednesday, and we'll be together until just after lunch on the Sunday. So that gives us a really kind of good spread of time to just really drop in with the land, to kind of join together as a community, journeying through the program, and yeah, to do lots of making and creative exploration. So kind of the first day is going to be very much a meeting day. We're going to meet each other, meet the land. We'll do a little bit of harvesting on that day. We'll explore some of the questions around harvesting that Isla mentioned. What makes a material? How do we approach material in a rewilding place like Ambercombe? And that evening, we're going to be doing some stuff around the fire. Every evening we'll have like a hearth that people can gather around with an activity to kind of take us into the evening. And then from then on, there'll just be this rhythm of the days of making, of embodiment practices in the morning, just to start us off. I will be teaching basket making. So I will have 2 full days where I'll be sharing basket making with half of the group on each day. And while I'm doing that, Caro and Isla will be with the other half of the group, doing pigment foraging, paint and ink making, walking through the valley, and yeah, kind of exploring that in different ways. And then we'll be kind of building up towards this ceremony on the Saturday night, which is going to be a kind of celebration of harvest, of all the riches of the land, and an opportunity for us to really give back through our own creative offerings. So that's going to be a kind of, yeah, late summer fire kind of, yeah, celebration. And then, yeah, there'll be some time to go out onto the land for some solo time, to respond to places that perhaps we feel are particularly special, or, you know, that we want to kind of create with in a more sort of spontaneous and unguided way. So there'll be some opportunity for that too. Yeah, I think that's everything. So I just look at the look at my notes. Yeah, I think that's about everything. There'll be tea collecting, herb harvesting, just exploring all the plants that are there, the trees, the animals, and there'll be lots of unexpected elements as well.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. There's so much in it to explore. And on this beautiful land, Ambercombe, as you were all talking, and Ambercombe is inspired by the world view of Indigenous people, and the intrinsic part of it is around the physical aspect, the practical, the making. And I think it is making is the embodiment. It's a version of embodiment, I guess. And it is like each time with making, we are putting a stitch between us and nature and hands and body. So from Ambercombe's perspective, it feels so important that we put the hands together, we feel it, and there's something about, you know, as you were talking about the harvesting, the reciprocity, and seeing where it comes, putting the energy and the time and the prayer. is so different than ordering something online and it just happens, you know, in a very strange way. And it's something so tangible about it. So this is in some ways why we wanted at Embicum to run a program like this. And then it was very exciting to bring you three together and then just like witnessing how you're weaving all those things that you bring together into each other. But I want to ask a question around, like, for you, why does it feel important to run such a program at this time in our human history?
I think I'll speak to that. For me, there is a thread of connection between so many seemingly disparate things. For us, working in basketry and in color and in ceremony, yet all of us working with connection as our primary thread, whether we're weaving ourselves back into nature and our souls back into ourselves, whether we're weaving community with the people we work with, even if we work together for 5 or 6 days, it's incredible the energy that you can weave together, the vessel you can make in a piece of land that holds you like Embicum Valley does. There's constant connection, even when we're talking to plants in different ways, talking to them and recognizing their medicine, talking to them and recognizing their traditional and ceremonial uses, talking to them and realizing they've got color stories to tell us as well, or that they have become tea for many hundreds of years and they're delicious also, and some of them which are all of those all at once. For instance, like Willow, who is like sacred and special to all three of us and is all over the land there. You're going to have lots of bubbly people just going, oh, Willow. There are allies in nature, and we are nature too. There are allies who we maybe haven't spoken to for a while. So to come together at Lammas and to come together at a physical harvest, it's also really good to bring these creative gifts together in terms of an energetic, like a soul harvest. Everyone has something to bring. As you said before, there's no wrong way to bring yourself into this kind of connection. You have to just show up how you are. You might not have picked up an artistic tool for 20 or 30 years. Great. Excellent. You might have brought your sketchbook with you that you'd used on the train on the way there. Great. Excellent. All of them are excellent because we will all be showing up with and for and as nature. And there'll be a secret basket being woven the whole time, with ceremony, with handwork, with songs, with the fire, with tea break, which is very important because cake is an essential spiritual practice in the southwest of England, which I'm sure everyone knows about. And if you don't, you will learn this deep, deep cake moment. But yeah, it's about weaving connection, and there isn't one way to do it, which is why it's so correct that we three from very different physical backgrounds found immediately that we had one common thread. And I think that that thread of conviviality and community, we will be picking up that thread and weaving it in so many different ways that by the end, anyone who comes, you will find your way to carry that thread onwards into your own work. So it's just finding this red thread, getting used to working with it, and then we don't know where you're going to take that afterwards. And that's, for me, a very exciting thing.
Thank you so much, Caro. That web of connection that we are just like weaving and putting stitches together, and we are becoming one in that sense. I just love the lightness and the depth of this, the remembering and the ceremony and the expertise and the wisdom and the connection. Very, very exciting. So these were my questions. But I like to share a few practical information and also want to highlight something because obviously we are, you know, who have been speaking, we are all women. And I just want to say that this program is not just for women, but for everyone, man, woman, non-binary. If you wish to be part of this program, you're so very welcome. And in terms of some practical information, I will share some links on the chat in a moment, but you can visit our web page and find more information about it. You can drop us an email if you have any inquiries. And we have some payment plans, interest payment plans that, you know, we can support you in that sense if that is needed. And we sometimes get questions around the payment option, which I just want to speak quickly, because we've got the regular ticket and then also the discounted ticket. We basically just put them, give people and have the trust that people will choose what works for their budget. And we wouldn't be questioning it, but it will be just for you to see which one that you can afford. And then also, if any of those prices didn't work for you, then you can also get in touch with us to apply for a bursary place, and we have some spaces for it. And lastly, there are limited places on this course because of the nature of the program. So I would say if you're thinking of signing up, just do it. With that, let me just post the links before I forget. Let me just there. Perfect. And before we finish, has anyone got anything else to add? You're all good. Okay. Well, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching this webinar. And I really look forward to seeing you and meeting the new people that will come to the course in August. Much love. Take care.
Thank you, Tuba.
Thank you.